Hey, today I'm receiving Victor of Dao Ventures. So Victor is a former student of mine. He took one of my course and now he's building his own DeFi project. So he's going to talk about his DeFi project, how he started to build it. Welcome, Victor.
Hey Julian, thanks for inviting me and be part of this good community with EatTheBlocks. It's my pleasure to
Yeah,
join you
yeah.
today.
Actually, we were just chatting in the chat of my students, and you were mentioning that you were looking for a developer, and then I saw the link of your project. I thought, wow, that sounds cool, and so yeah, I suggested we have this interview. So, first, tell us about what you are building. What is this thing, DAO Ventures?
Okay, in short, we are doing DeFi or decentralized finance, right? Robo advisory and asset management tool. So you could imagine that as actually as Robinhood in the traditional fintech world, but specifically for DeFi. Make DeFi more available and accessible to more people so that they are actually more comfortable in participating in DeFi growth and movement.
Hmm. So yeah, it sounds like a new flavor of Yuan Finance, right?
Yep. So we are kind of like a similar to Yen Finance. I think as any other asset manager protocol in DeFi, we are actually one of the or we are actually considered one of their customer as well in DeFi due to the composability nature of DeFi. But yeah, whatever we are providing is similar to Yen Finance. The only differences is that we are actually trying to make ourselves a little bit more trusted and more secured. The different because we are actually based in Singapore and all the founders are actually from fintech technology and also in crypto for a long time. So that is actually one of the unique advantages. And second one, right, we actually doing this in a way that we are putting our own money as well. So, I mean, Ian Finance, we know that Andre is actually a really, really strong developer, and he actually started this because he really wanted to grow and innovate in the DeFi, right? So I think we are following his footsteps. We are doing the same, but the difference is that we want to target the Southeast Asia and Asian market, and we wanted to bring this to the mainstream in for the crypto
Hmm.
investors.
Okay, so I really like two things about your project. Like first, that you have a co-founder from the fintech world because I think they will be better for dealing with a regulatory issue. And I also like that you localize your project a lot, so you're gonna do like some very specific marketing. And it's always better to be specific as opposed to when you try to target the whole world, which is the big mistake of many projects. They want to be the
Yep.
next Google, the next Facebook, etc. But it never happened because you have to start somewhere. So yeah, I
Yep.
really like this. And
Yep.
so in terms of the regulation, so currently in DeFi, we don't have too many regulation, but we start to see like the SEC in the US start to be a little bit more angry and start to sue some crypto projects. Okay, so currently the crypto project they sued were like a little bit shady, but maybe in the future they're gonna start to go for DeFi. So are you guys already anticipating this? Especially you guys are based in Singapore, which is very active in the financial sector. So do you know how it's gonna play out?
Yeah, that is a great question. So there are few angles here, right? But the first thing that we wanted to shoot for is actually to be a secured, trusted, and compliance. Even though despite we are being a DeFi, right, we know that DeFi a lot of interaction is actually with the smart contract. A lot of crypto and regulators actually understand about this. So I think if we were to do it right, most probably we will be working very closely with the authority, for example, MAS in Singapore, to be working closely with them, right, with the lawyer and the association, to actually bring in the compliance and regulation, right, into the DeFi world. Um, that is actually one of the paths that we need to do. If we wanted to make this a real, legitimate, big company, but it's actually not new. Just to give an example, why I say it's not new. For example, Aave, as we know, right, they are based in the UK. Actually, Aave got a FCA license in UK as well. So, of course, the license is specifically for UK residents and for them to convert their fiat to crypto. But it shows that they are actually trying their best to actually be regulated despite being a DeFi protocol. So I think we are shooting the same direction, and I believe that DeFi is really new, and it's just natural. If you wanted to be as good and as legit as possible, so that the mainstream investors will not be rug pull or be scammed, right? I think being compliant and having all these kind of processes will create trust, and subsequently, with this trust, more investors from traditional market, from finance market, from the Bitcoin holders, and from even some other robo advisory in the region, right? They could potentially tap into DeFi, and that will create growth and trust in DeFi. So if you ask me, that is actually the bottleneck we need to break through.
So do you think at some point you will have some KYC on your product?
Good question. I mean, at the end of the
Yes.
day, something that we need to be aware
Yeah.
of. But of course, that being said, right, any other crypto project is a startup, right? There is always a question about getting the product market fit, getting the right funding, getting the right growth, while balancing right the requirements and needs so that you can continue to grow. I mean, let's use some example, right? That it actually we can refer to. Will not. I will not be. I will not be surprised. You will say that in the beginning of like a fintech company such as Stripe. I mean, when they started, right, they will have this problem as well, right? The SEC or the regulators in US would like to actually, be part of their process. But because they are small, nobody will say anything, right? But once you reach to a certain size like Binance or BitMEX now, you need to be careful about all these things that you're saying because you are one of the big players in the market.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And next, can you tell us a little bit about how you guys actually create yield for the investment? Like which protocol do you invest in, and do you do the rebalancing for every transactions?
Okay.
Hmm.
So actually that goes into our solution and our positioning and our product to our investors, right? So make no mistake, in DeFi, I think there are three main ingredients that a lot of a non-DeFi will not understand it, but I think you and me will understand it. The first one is actually non-custodial. So in DeFi, right, in the traditional centralized finance, we are actually depositing our money into the exchange's wallet. So the responsibility and the capital actually stays with them. If they get hacked or if they run away, your money is gone. DeFi, right, you reduce that risk by being non-custodial, right? That's number one. And the second one, that is actually specifically for DeFi, which is actually composability. We know it. You can actually take a flash loan to do arbitraging, to do investment in the different DeFi protocols, and then you can actually cycle the loop in the several times over, as long as you complete it within the transaction or you pay the relevant gas fees. And all of these are automated, right? Because it's just interacting through the smart contract. But that is actually not something that the traditional investors or the centralized crypto investors actually are able to do because it's all about interacting with smart contract. And the third part is actually because of the composability nature of DeFi, right? And transparency of all these strategies. A lot of traditional finance will not understand this, right? But your winning strategy is meaningless in DeFi because all the strategies are just you can see the contract and their strategies in the smart contract. So because of this, right, I think the best way for us to do is actually to copy whatever that is working in the market and we optimize it accordingly to our customers. So for example, we know that in the yuan finance protocol, right, the one of the best performing strategy that I have is called YCRV, right, Y Vault. I mean, instead of me competing with them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with them, right? Why should I compete with a good player while we can just work together with them to invest together with them, right?
Yeah.
So we will become one of the investors into their protocol as
Oh,
well.
okay,
And that,
okay. So it's very smart. So like you basically use Yuan Finance as the backend.
yep.
Yeah.
So for a startup perspective, what did I save, right? As we know, we do developer and we are doing smart contract. Every line of code requires a dedication and look at the smart contract to ensure that there's no exploit or the way they write the code is make sure that no future hackers could actually arbitrage out of the market maker formula. So what we are trying to do, we just copy whatever 80% when there's work on the year and we just
Yeah.
customize it a little bit according to our need and then we are able to launch it to the mainnet.
Yeah, I
And if you
think
ask me,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I think this is something that many developers don't understand is it's different to just write code and to make it a product. So what you guys are doing, you are productizing an existing piece of code, and that's really where you add a lot of the value. Because if you just write code, you publish it to GitHub, then and you hope that some VC is going to notice you and invest $1 million, then you're dreaming. It doesn't work like
Yep.
this. Yeah, so you gotta make it into a product, get some traction, and then only then like some investors are gonna start to notice you. Okay, I see it now. And then can you talk a little bit of what was the process for you of getting in the blockchain? Like what made you interested in blockchain? When did you start, and how did you learn to code?
Wow, that it will be a. I will try to short and make it as short as possible, right? That is actually kind of like I think both our career.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I've been delving into startups and technology since like the pre-mobile app days, and my first project was actually creating a camera mobile app, at the same time as Instagram in 2009. That was like 11, 12 years ago. But obviously, right, we are just like venturing into creating new cool stuff, right, that is on an iOS system and a mobile system in hope that we can make into a $1 billion startup, right? But obviously, I did not go into that part. But along the way, I did my first startup, second startup, and of course, Dao Ventures is actually my like third big startup that we're actually doing right now. So how do I delve into the blockchain and the smart contract? I initially I did not understand about Bitcoin. The first blockchain project that I actually get into is actually Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin. I was not into finance. I do not even buy Bitcoin 5 6 years ago. So in 2016, actually I was looking at one problem. The problem is actually how do we democratize an insurance industry? How do we make the insurance industry to be more transparent? Because of that, I was having a problem in search of a solution, and I discovered blockchain. So I went to Ethereum DevCon 2 in Shanghai. I met Vitalik and the early days. There's a surprising thing when I was looking back right now. I did not even buy any Ethereum then. I was looking at it from a technology and product perspective. I bought a mining machine instead because I was trying to understand how to connect to the Ethereum network and configure the Gas node ecosystem so that I can understand the technology, right? So I'm kind of like the nerd product person, but I did not buy any of the Ethereum. Kind of like the hindsight is kind of funny. But anyway, so that was the start of my experience into the blockchain, into understanding about the whole ecosystem of blockchain and Ethereum and network, and of course smart contract. But as we know, right, the in the last several years, the only application on smart contract is just ICO, right? That is the only thing. People create their own coin and launch it, right, and then you claim ownership of the token. Um, but it's just that I think this year into 2020 is whereby the whole boom started, right? And actually that gives us a lot of us, developers actually understand, right, the power of smart contract. And that's how I decided that, hey, I need to go deep dive to really understand the coding aspect of it and start to do something with Ethereum smart contract development.
I think your journey in blockchain is quite typical. Like you've been into it for some time, but maybe from a high level perspective, in slash investor. And at some point when you decide to launch your own project and you realize that you don't have these coding skills, and it's going to make it harder to launch your own project, except if you're willing to spend a
Mm.
lot of money. But that's not the best idea. And so that's really what motivates you to learn this, is to build your own project. And so from the moment when you started to learn blockchain programming to the moment you were able to build your project, Dao Venture, like how long was that?
Oh, I still remember, right, when we are like chatting on your group chat and through email. I was interested to learn about your courses, right? Which is thanks for that, right, Julian. Your work and
Thank you.
your courses are actually awesome. So it was like 2 to 3 months at most. That is how the duration is, and I'm not even spending 10 hours a day to learn the code, right? So I'm just going through the tutorial and the process, which actually makes me appreciate like the complexity of it, and then what we need to do as a programmer and what the programmer are facing. Yeah, just a couple of months, I think I get a gist out of it and understand how the programming works, right, for Solidity and of course JavaScript development. um, and also because of that, I understand, right, that Solidity smart contract or smart contract on Ethereum, right, is actually a very dumb application. It is so dumb that it just sit on the blockchain without doing anything. It's not something that will work on its own. It's just a piece of a document on the smart contract. The only time that it will be interacted with it, right, is somebody call a function within a smart contract through JavaScript. So that is how I understand, right, how the whole mechanics of a smart contract working, right. Yeah, but it takes me a couple of months. And my background, despite me being having a product lead and a product manager who were working on different products, right, I think I only have like very basic development. I can do a little bit of Python, I can do HTML and basic stuff, right. But when it comes to doing real full stack development and of course blockchain development and of course front end, so that actually requires me to rekindle and restart my whole programming from scratch just to get myself used to it. I think just a couple of months I think is sufficient for us to create something from scratch.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know this because a lot of people that never got into tech stuff always think wrongly that blockchain is so difficult because they think they need to write the Ethereum protocol. But no, the whole point of this ecosystem is to make it easy for people to launch their product. As I often
Yep.
say, actually, smart contract programming is really actually to me it's even more simple than front end, for example. But a lot of beginners they don't realize. But like front end, you have like so many moving parts, like HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, the HTTP request, like you go in every direction. But with smart contract, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not as hard as what people say. And the code is shorter and the interaction are quite clear. You have like this smart contract that called this one, and yeah, whereas like yeah, in a browser, there are just a lot of things you need to understand. Um,
Yep.
and yeah, so I hope this is inspiring for people who are thinking of building their own DeFi project. And also, I wonder, so you say you're based in Singapore, and me, I always viewed Singapore as really the blockchain hub for Asia, right?
Mm. So Singapore is actually, I mean, I was actually based in China, but I moved to Singapore last year because I believe that Singapore is the emerging market for like the fintech, right? And blockchain and crypto is part of it. So I moved to Singapore for that. I never look back because Singapore is really, really a nice place to for any developers or for any people to be based here. I mean, the country is good and it's well run. I mean, if you look at the current pandemic, we know it, right? Singapore is still controlling it very well. I mean, same as Taiwan as well.
Yeah.
But for Singapore, I believe that looking at it, right, this is where the future of like fintech and the finance is, right. I think there are two key example why this is actually happening. All the big giant companies in China, such as Alibaba, Tencent, and even ByteDance, they are announcing they are going to set up their main headquarters in Singapore because they wanted to be part of this movement here. And they are hiring like what 3,000 engineers here. I think there is not enough engineers in Singapore for this reason.
Wow.
So that is number one in Singapore. And of course, there are really big players here, right? Facebook is here, Grab is here. All the giants are here, right? And of course, the financial companies as well. That's number one. And the second one, right, is that in Southeast Asia or hopefully upcoming Asia, all the fintech and crypto will be coming to here as well. If you look at Coinbase, CoinMarketCap, Binance actually have presence here. I mean, BitMEX is based in Hong Kong, but I'm not sure what is the next step. But coming to Singapore is actually the next step to expand to this region. And because of that, we wanted to Dao Ventures to be based here because Dao Ventures, DAO Ventures, kind of funny side note, right? A lot of people who do not understand crypto will be asking Dao, is it something to do with like the Asian, Zen thing? But people in crypto, we know that DAO, right? We are talking about decentralized autonomous organizations, right? DAO Ventures. So what we wanted to do is to create a financial application similar like a VC. But this, of course, right now is a DeFi robo advisory to invest into DeFi protocols. But being in Singapore will give us the really good advantage to take the timing and the growth of DeFi in this region.
Yeah, and to complement what you said, I think Singapore is going to become even more important for blockchain in Asia in the future because with everything that's happening in Hong Kong, I think yeah, more and more companies that are moving from Hong Kong to Singapore. So before it was like always a fight between Singapore and Hong Kong for who would be the first one for the financial center in Asia. It was 50-50 for a long time, and I think now it's clear that Singapore is going
Yep.
to win this battle. Um,
Yep.
so I think we're gonna wrap it up. Before we end, so yeah, just wanna re-emphasize that you are looking for a developer for your project, Dao Venture. So if anybody is interested, they can reach out to you via Twitter, I guess. Maybe I can put your Twitter handle in the description.
Yeah, I'll send you a Twitter handle, of course, LinkedIn, and our, just one support email will do as well.
Yeah.
They can email to us at our email, and I'll be arranging a chat with them. So yeah. So Julian, for this, right, I would like to express my gratitude as well. So yesterday I just had a call with one of the fellow community members from EatTheBlock, and then he added me on from through the Discord chat, right, and we were just talking to him, and yeah, kind of like I met somebody from across the world in the blockchain development, interested to do something together through your community.
Okay.
That is actually something you'll be very proud of.
Thank you. I mean, it's really hard to start a community at the beginning. There is just you. I remember I started with a private Telegram chat like 1 year ago, and then there were less people, but there was some discussion, but it wasn't as active. And at some point, the community grew. I added more course, and then people say, "Hey, can we have a Discord chat, like where you can have a different channel?" So then we moved to Discord, and then I saw the community growing organically with students getting together doing some sub project, for example, for my course on a flash loan. And some students, they built their own extension for the flash loan and are running it on a private server. And also like you mentioned, so some of the students meet each other for projects. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's really the huge value of communities like this. Anyway, I hope that this was really a good inspiration for everybody who want to build their own DeFi project. Even if you're not a technical person, like, you can make this transformation, learn coding in a few months, and you're able to build your project. This is possible. Thank you, Victor, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Julian.
Bye.
Bye bye.